To introduce students to EquatIO, I use Pear Deck. So to get Pear Deck, you go to Add-ons, and it's in a Pear Deck. You can also go to Get Add-ons if Pear Deck is not on your list, and then search for Pear Deck and then Add, and then it pops on the sidebar. So I like to use Pear Deck because it allows students to kind of gain prior knowledge in a safe place, and I get them immediate feedback if they're in the correct spot or not correct spot, rather than just jumping in with this tool. So I'm going to show you the student side of the Pear Deck, but teachers have to move students along in Pear Deck. You could do self-paced, but for this lesson, students can't move until I move them as a teacher. So here we go. How familiar are you with EquatIO? Students will take this blue dot and they answer if they feel comfortable or if they don't know EquatIO. Right away, as a teacher, you get feedback to know how well students know this tool. Then I have the students search for the tool. So they need to take their magnifying glass and find the EquatIO extension. So right now, students don't know if they have it correct or not. They're just kind of exploring on their own. Then on the next slide, students get that immediate feedback to know, yes, they did find it, or no, they did not find the correct location. Then students have to find these three tools in EquatIO. So settings, which is right here, the equation editor, and the LaTeX editor, which is right there. Again, it's just introducing students to the new vocabulary and where things are located in EquatIO. Then they get, again, their immediate feedback. Now they need to find the handwriting recognition, the graph editor, and the speech input. So again, students put their circles right where they go. And then again, they get their immediate feedback to know if they're in the correct spot or not. And then I talk about it. This is where the graph editor is. This is the handwriting recognition. And this is the speech input. Once we finish the Pear Deck, we then have the students open up this Google slide with example problems. Usually teachers put this in their Google Classroom. So for problem 1, how we start is we have the students open up Read and Write and EquatIO. So EquatIO is down here, Read and Write is up here. Students at the beginning of the year learn how to use Read and Write, so they already know how to use this tool. They do not usually know how to use EquatIO. So they're going to go ahead and listen to the word problem.
Scientists are creating a material that may replace damaged cartilage in human joints. This hydrogel can stretch to 21 times its original length. If a strip of hydrogel measures 3.2 cm, what would its length be when stretched to capacity?
So for some reason, sometimes I have a hard time copying after it reads, so I just refresh and it usually fixes the issue. So what are we going to have students highlight is what I always ask them. So we're going to, again, use the Read and Write tool to highlight. So a lot of students will say 21 times and 3.2. They also like to highlight the question. So students are going to multiply these two problems. If students didn't know what cartilage was, they could use the dictionary to help them understand. They can sometimes use the picture dictionary if there is a picture for that word. So if they didn't know, they can again use the text-to-speech and listen to the definition. This sometimes helps with word problems because a lot of times students might not know the vocabulary in the word problem. Now students are ready to use EquatIO. They're going to use the equation editor. So what we're going to do is multiply. So we're going to type in MULT, mult, and we're doing 2-digit multiplication. There's 2 digits in both numbers. We're not doing 3-digit. And it gives them this box. If you use this gray line, you can go up or down. So here we can put our numbers in. 21 times 3.2. And then students multiply. So we do 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Then they're going to put their 0 the hero. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. And they're going to put their plus sign, and they're going to add. Again, you can make this bigger so students can see. And this really helps students that struggle with their handwriting. Giving them those boxes can help them organize their thoughts. And then our decimal goes here. And then students hit Insert Math. Then you're going to click this button and hit Close. So there's it closed. If students made an error, they can click it and hit Edit. They can go in and edit where they made their mistake. If they hit Insert again, it's going to insert a new picture. And they could write new answer, or they could delete their old one. So again, really kid-friendly. I really like that students can click it and it lets them edit. It helps those students that really struggle with organization. For problem 2, we have a coordinate grid. So again, students can highlight and have it read to them.
The captain of a ship has a chart to help him navigate through the islands. He must follow points that show the deepest part of the channel. Place the coordinates the captain needs to follow in the order he will encounter them. Red, green, purple, blue, or...
So students will go ahead and use the coordinate grid. They can zoom in so they can see the different points on the grid. This one is nice for a teacher. So as a teacher, to get this coordinate grid, you're going to go to Insert Math Space. And it's going to open up EquatIO Math Space. From here, you can go to Graph Editor, and then you just plug in your coordinate grids, and you can see them going on the grid. What's also nice is I can show the label. If you want to check your answers with students, you can have them show the label. You can also change by the settings your coordinates. I can also go in here when I'm ready for students to check their work and hit and click Edit Math. Edit Math. Edit Graph. And I can see all of the different points plotted on our graph so students know if their answers are correct or not correct. So this one's probably nice for teachers to make in 5th grade. As students get higher up, they're going to have more difficult problems, which they will want to use the Desmos and EquatIO together. Problem 3. These ones were my favorite when I taught math. So for this one, students have this problem and they need to figure out the question marks. So they're going to click Edit Math. As you can see, all of the question marks and the equations popped over. Students just go in and delete the question marks and put in their answers. So they're going to think 3 times what gives me 3? 1. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times question mark is 2. 3 times 3 is, they need their 0 the hero. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Then they're going to go over. They need another 0 because they're in the hundredths place. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Then they're going to add all of this up and get their final answer. They're going to insert their math. And there's the correct answer. So again, really nice for students to use on a Google slide. Then they're going to complete a Google form. So on this Google form, they're going to type in their name. And then on here, they're going to use paper to solve this problem. And all they have to do is put in the answer. So they can use EquatIO right on their Google form. You could also write fraction, and you get that fraction line, or you can just put 11/12 and you get your fraction and insert the math. On question 2, there is no EquatIO for the students, but I'm going to show you how I did use EquatIO with this problem. So students can highlight this problem and use Read and Write for Google. Again, there's another blog post about how to use Read and Write for Google.
1. A race begins with 1/2 miles through town, continues through the park for 1/3 miles, and finishes at the track after the last 1/6 mile. A volunteer is stationed every quarter mile and at the finish line to pass out cups of water and cheer on the runners. How many volunteers are needed? 1.
So the students have 4 different options. They're going to click the wrong example just so I can show you what this looks like. So if the students get it incorrect, it takes them to a reteach video. In this video, I used a Google slide and EquatIO to explain to the students. And then I want the students to show where they made their mistake. So as you can see, I have the word problem here. I use Read and Write for Google to highlight and read the problem. And then I use the picture dictionary to explain what a quarter is. Then I use EquatIO to show the work. And you can see there's the other, changing the denominators, and then showing the students that they have to divide by 1/4, and then showing them the final answer and how we got that answer. So students would write where they found their mistake and submit. If the students get this question right, they just go ahead and submit it. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know.